Today is October 17th, 2019. Is Hong Kong safe for travellers? I'm going to answer that question right now, see from scrolling through the whole video. In my opinion, yes, it is. Could there be disruptions to your travel? Yes, quite possibly. Let's discuss. My one, so they'll be here soon. Good luck. Thank you, GG. Alright, so it's day number 2 here in Hong Kong. I've just had some delicious food downstairs. And just really quickly, a lot of stuff in Hong Kong is quite expensive. A combination of food and drink in particular. If you ask locals, a lot of them will give you tips. So the guy in my hostel just literally pointed out one 5 minutes away, like a food court, and you can get that for half, a third of the price of normal. So save a little bit of money, ask local people. So basically nothing really happened in day one. From me arriving at the airport, there was pretty much no one around, looked like any other place that I've been. Then the transport was normal, no disruptions. Then getting to the hostel, I didn't see any graffiti, any protesters around. Obviously that was in the daytime, so maybe night time will change. It is day number 4, and today I'm heading to Victoria Peak. Once we reach the top, we're going to have amazing, incredible and majestic views of the city. So it is possible to get the tram. I think they're cheating, personally, at least on the way up. So I'm going to walk the whole thing. Alright, finally made it to the top. It took me about 2 hours. I clearly need to work out more because I'm absolutely knackered already. Okay, so obviously being in Hong Kong right now is very interesting. If people have been watching the news or at least reading the papers, you know, obviously about the protests that have been going on. I haven't seen any in person at this point in time. As I said, there's obviously Thursday. There's a big one meant to be happening tomorrow and Saturday. So we'll see how things develop then. But basically I feel completely safe. There's not been any problems. The only issues have been the transport. So transport on the underground has been shutting early. It's been shutting at about 10 o'clock. So you just need to make sure you're back early. And the other thing which I made a massive mistake on is try not to book flights on a Friday, Saturday or a Sunday. I booked mine for Sunday night. I did it a couple of weeks ago and I stupidly did that. I completely forgot. The big protests do take place at the weekend, so I'm really hoping and praying that my flight doesn't get cancelled or delayed by a long time. I don't know at this point, but yeah, if you're watching this, try not to maybe book it at the weekends, save you some hassle. I just wanted to include a quick part into what's been causing all the protests at the moment. Now obviously I'm not an expert. If you want the full version, quite easily go to another YouTube channel or you can find it online. I just wanted to do 1 minute of backstory just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. So the best way to start with this mini history lesson is to start with the year 1997. This was the year that Hong Kong was given back to China. So before this period, about 100 years prior, the British Empire and China had 2 wars known as the Opium Wars. After this period, a peace deal was signed. One of the conditions was Hong Kong was actually handed over to the British Empire. There was a clause in that, however, after 99 years, it would be handed back to Hong Kong. Now that 99 years was up in 1997. However, the people of Hong Kong weren't particularly happy with this. Another one of the conditions that came up was it would still be independent for 50 years until it was incorporated into China. So they're allowed to keep their traditions, keep the economy, keep the government. After 50 years, then they'll be allowed to transition to that period. This was known as the one country, two systems rule. So before the protests, can you stop that? Duck. So before the protests of 2019, there's been several in the past. I'm not going to go into details now, but if you Google it, I'm sure you can find the information out quite easily. Protests apparently started off quite peaceful and then were dispersed by police using tear gas and pepper spray. The main thing to take away here is the people were using umbrellas to shield themselves. Yellow umbrellas, you've probably seen pictures in the Times and that kind of thing. And basically this started the movement of the umbrella movement, or the umbrella revolution. So what started the protest this year was when two people from Hong Kong, a man and I think his girlfriend or wife, I'm not entirely sure which, went to Taipei for a holiday. And basically, I don't know the full details, but the man ended up killing the woman. He came back by himself to Hong Kong and he was eventually captured by the police. So long story short, he wasn't actually allowed to be trialed because he was in a different country, even though it's still technically part of China. What the Hong Kong government proposed was something called the extradition bill. This basically meant that anyone that was undergoing charges could be sent back to mainland China to face trial. And this is what caused a lot of worry for people. Under the condition of the one country, two systems, a lot of people thought this was a violation by China under their rights, basically. In the first protest, 1 million people took to the streets. In the second protest, 2 million people took to the streets. It's pretty crazy. That's so many people that got involved. This is how many people felt so strongly against this bill. Now, obviously, since this point, things have been getting pretty mad. There's a lot more violence between the protesters and the police. People apparently have lost a lot of faith in the Hong Kong police. Tear gas has been used, apparently pepper spray used. There's graffiti in quite a few places, as you've obviously seen already. Now, recently the extradition bill was withdrawn. However, the protesters are still unhappy. They basically made a list of 5 demands which they wanted done, and so far none of them have been accepted by the government. I can't quite remember what they are, unfortunately. I don't have internet on my phone right now, but I will put them up here on screen with the power of my editing. So yeah, that's basically it as it stands. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think really anyone does at this point, so I guess we just got to see what happens. Yeah. It's day number 7 here in Hong Kong. My flight is leaving, and it just so happens that the biggest protest is taking place today. Let's go check it out. heading to the airport. I've actually got 5 hours until my flight, which is a little bit extra, but with everything that's going on, especially with the escalating incidents, I think it's a good time to leave. So the 2 stations earlier were obviously shut, as well as number 3 now, meaning I need to walk for a little bit. The makeshift roadblocks have made getting around quite difficult, and the buses don't run over, so walking for about half an hour, then getting a ferry, and then hopefully getting the train, and then should be okay after that. I was also reported, so I'm just seeing pictures of police using tear gas 5 minutes from my hostel, so I think it's a good choice for me to go after all. Alright, so I made it to the airport, and it's now time for me to depart Hong Kong. Today has been very interesting indeed. Lots of footage. Hope you have enjoyed seeing what I've been through the last few days. Overall, really enjoyed Hong Kong. I think there's always a perception of, oh, it's really dangerous. And, you know, if you're in the middle of all of that, then it could be. As long as you don't do that, I think you'll be fine. Disruptions are the main thing. I can tell you that firsthand. But just look at the first 6 days on all the amazing stuff which you would miss out on if you got too scared to go. So my opinion is, go there, you have a lot of fun. Next destination is Singapore. See you soon.